Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jay Kohn. Janelle is off tonight. Energy is the name of the game here in Billings this week as the Magic City hosts the Montana Energy Summit 2018. From discussing the future of Colstrip to an update on the Keystone Pipeline to the latest on a proposed coal port in Washington State, this week's Montana Energy Summit offers a snapshot of the various moving parts on the U.S. energy scene. Montana Senator Steve Daines got a jump start hosting that Montana Energy Summit this morning as he led a tour of top U.S. energy officials to Colstrip. Then the group sat down for a wide-ranging discussion about the issues at hand. With Colstrip power plants 1 and 2 slated for a shutdown in the year 2022, most people are focusing now on Colstrip's transition away from coal. But Wednesday's discussion zeroed in on the role that Colstrip plants 3 and 4 will play in the new U.S. energy scene moving forward.
The last administration thought that coal was the problem. This new administration believes that coal was part of the solution. What I mean by that is not putting all of our eggs in any one basket, having a diverse portfolio.
Neil Chatterjee is one of 5 members on the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. He is the first FERC commissioner to set foot in Colstrip. Chatterjee believes Colstrip, like other aging coal-fired power plants in the country, may actually be the key to adding reliability to the world of renewable.
If this plant shuts down because it can't compete in today's marketplace, and we find out down the road that we actually did need this plant for reliability, for resilience, that could be a real problem. The folks in this community make a compelling case about the threat to reliability in the region. If this plant were to shut down, we'll have to very carefully examine that.
Talent Energy CEO Ralph Alexander, whose company operates the Colstrip power complex, says the issues at play in Colstrip represent a microcosm of the entire U.S. energy scene.
To me, Colstrip is the poster child for what the nation needs to deal with. A plant that's got a country that has so much power supply now, with renewable energy being mandated, natural gas, and not enough demand. So you have this imbalance. What do? And if you do nothing, you end up with renewables, which might work if the sun stays out like this, wind, which might work if the wind blows, but you lose all ability for diversification, and I don't think that's a smart thing strategically.
Just 2 years ago, Talon announced it would relinquish its role as operator of the Colstrip generating complex, but Alexander has different ideas. He wants the company to take a renewed look and now says they're in for the long haul.
So the deal is, look, it's in trouble. We got work to do. Let's do this together. I promise you we'll work it as hard as we can. They're working as hard as they can. And we've done a lot in the last year and a half to strengthen Colstrip.
Exactly how Colstrip's future fits into America's energy puzzle remains a work in progress. But Senator Daines remains convinced it's a bright future.
We don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction that's occurred, frankly, from the last administration. Australia has learned the hard way. Taiwan has learned the hard way. Germany's learned the hard way, moving too fast in this versus keeping a balanced, common sense kind of approach.
Senator Daines will offer his opening remarks at the Montana Energy Summit 2018 beginning at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. It happens at the Billings Hotel and Convention Center. The opening panel discussion is entitled Trains, Trucks, Ports, and Pipelines, and it features the chairman of the BNSF Railway and the president of Lighthouse Resources. That's the company proposing a new West Coast coal port in Longview, Washington. Harold Hamm, founder of Continental Resources, is among those offering keynote talks later in the morning, along with Russ Girling, president of TransCanada. That's the firm behind the Keystone XL pipeline. The panel discussion on the future of Colstrip will kick off the afternoon sessions starting at 1:05. The state's top mining lobby is going to court in an effort to prevent a clean water initiative from making it to the Montana ballot this year. The Montana Mining Association is asking the state Supreme Court to intervene and stop the signature gathering effort to qualify Initiative 186 for the November ballot. I-186 states if any proposed mine requires perpetual water treatment of any runoff, then it cannot be permitted in the state of Montana. The mining group says I-186 has an improper effective date, which must be corrected before any of the signatures can be gathered. David Brooks of Montana Trout Unlimited, though, says the legal filing is an action by pro-pollution mines to keep Montanans from voting on the issue of responsible mining. The mining lobby, in return, says it's merely asking the High Court to ensure that I-186 follows state law. Hard to believe it's been nearly 7 years since the devastating oil spill of 2011 marred the face of the Yellowstone River from Laurel all the way to Pompey's Pillar. Today, Governor Steve Bullock took a major step forward to secure the healthy future of the river. Q2's Connor Prigitzer has the details for us.
That signature from Governor Bullock marks the culmination of 7 years of hard work following the ExxonMobil oil spill of 2011. It also marks the inception of the Yellowstone River Recreation Plan. This plan aims to improve recreation facilities along the Yellowstone. Governor Bullock says that the plan is a repayment to the community.
As part of the $12 million natural resource damages settlement, $2.3 million was set aside to compensate the public for the loss of access to the river and recreation during the spill and the cleanup.
The spill poured 63,000 gallons of crude oil into the river. Cleanup efforts spanned 85 river miles and nearly 11,000 acres of property. Governor Bullock hopes this action can serve to help repair the damage that was done.
This really does mark yet another step in the process to return the Yellowstone River and its surrounding ecosystem to the majestic state that it was prior to that oil spill.
Attorney General Tim Fox said that the projects included in this plan, including things like a riverside campground in Laurel, additional access points for fishing on the river, and improvements to recreational areas like Lake Josephine, will hopefully benefit the community for years to come.
The work that will be done under this plan is ever so important, not only to the generations here, but for so many more generations in the future.
Governor Bullock's signing today means that the $2.3 million allocated to this project can now be officially put to use. Residents of the Billings area along the Yellowstone River can look forward to groundbreaking on these projects later this year. In Billings, Connor Prigitzer, MTN News.
Thank you, Connor. Connor tells us work can start on those projects once a contract is signed between the sponsoring agency and the National Resource Damage Program. Yellowstone County is now out of the woods for now as far as the threat of major flooding. Today, County Commissioner John Ossold was out surveying the condition of the Yellowstone River from the air, and he let Q2 tag along for the ride. Take a look at this bird's eye view of the river. You can see, yes, a great deal of erosion along the banks of the river, and it's flowing bank to bank right now. And we're told the bridges are structurally sound, but there is plenty of debris building up. This river came too close for comfort to its estimated flood stage last weekend. But Ossold advises residents and onlookers to remain alert for fast-changing conditions, especially in the low-lying areas.
The original forecast was a record flood, and the snow was certainly up there, and there was a storm headed that direction. Fortunately for us, it turned and went east and over the Bighorn Mountains and missed most of Yellowstone and the Beartooth, so we really dodged a bullet. And the flooding that we got now, there's certainly some people that are struggling, and there's lowland flooding and some houses and folks that have a little trouble, but largely we're very good, and it looks like the forecast is going to make it even better.
Some areas of concern include the Cowboys restaurant in Huntley and this home near Thiel Road in Laurel, where the river, as you can see, is running right up to the house's back door. Well, joining us now is Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire to bring us the latest on the current river forecast. You saw that video, Bob.
Yeah, amazing.
Bank to bank. You don't see the Yellowstone like that.
Not very often. As you said, it kind of reminded you of the Missouri River once in a while.
Right.
So the nice thing about the Yellowstone River, it is now down around 13 feet and it's going lower. Good news. But these are the other rivers that we're watching that are basically at bank full or maybe a little bit higher. Let's zoom in here a little bit closer. The Yellowstone River, Miles City, that's at a little over flood stage. Expected to go to 14.3. Crest on Saturday at 14.3 feet. Meanwhile, the Tongue River of Burney, that's a little over flood stage as well. Also forecast tomorrow to go to 7.5. And then it should go down after that. The Clarks Fork of the Yellowstone, well, that's currently at 8.8. It's above flood stage right now. Forecasted to go to 9.2 on Friday. Meanwhile, over here, the Yellowstone River, Livingston, that's forecast to go to 10 feet before it crests and goes down. And the Musselshell River, well, that's out of its banks at both at Shawmut and Lavina. And it's forecast to go a little bit higher by the time Saturday and Sunday get here. That's when the river starts to crest and go down. We'll have more in your forecast in a few more minutes. Jay?
All right. Thank you, Bob. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo held the first round of talks with a high-ranking North Korean official today in New York City. Now, these meetings could set the stage for President Trump's North Korean summit with Kim Jong-un next month. We have the latest for you tonight from the White House and CBS's Mola Lengi.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo met with Kim Jong-chul in New York City Wednesday night, trying to lay the groundwork for a possible nuclear summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
We are preparing and expect that to take place on June 12th, and we'll be ready if it does on June 12th.
Chul, Kim's right-hand man, is the highest-ranking North Korean official to visit the U.S. in 18 years. In 2014, the former spy chief was heavily sanctioned by the U.S. in response to the North's cyber attack against Sony Pictures.
The conversation is going to be focused on denuclearization of the peninsula. That's what these ongoing conversations taking place now will be centered on.
Chul is not expected to meet with President Trump while in the States. He'll meet with Secretary Pompeo again Thursday in an attempt to move the summit forward. On Wednesday, Secretary Pompeo tweeted the U.S.'s goals for the summit, writing, "We are committed to the complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula."
The existing summit could take place or a summit at some later date.
President Trump canceled the summit last week in a letter to Kim, but both sides now appear to be moving full speed ahead. The White House says an American delegation is now on the ground in North Korea and Singapore to work out logistics. Mo Lengi, CBS News, the White House.
Still ahead on tonight's 10 o'clock news, for ranchers across the country, a new bill in Congress would change the way animals are transported, and it could be life-saving. We've got the details. Plus, in the area responsible for keeping most of us connected, many of them, it turns out, are unplugged. And later in sports, Scott updates this Montana golfer who's playing every course in the state this summer. He hit the links in Billings today.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Kohn and Janelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.